Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to Unlocking Freedom in Nature and Art. I'm so excited. I have my guest co-host here, Rene. Welcome, Rene.
Hi, Tammy. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, I'm excited. Hey, he was bold enough to say, "Hey, I'll be on." That's so, and so I love that. And I love each and every one of you that are participating today. And thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching this as a recording, we appreciate that as well. So today is a different topic than normal. Today we are talking about holiday traditions. And traditions you love. If you noticed, I had made a post asking people a poll. What was the most important thing to you? One was quality time. Two, slowing down. Three, creative traditions. Four, gifts and giving. Five, peace. And six would just be all of the above. How about you, Rene?
Yeah, it's what is holiday all about? I mean, I guess the US is a bit different than the UK. Although I'm Belgium, I've been living in the UK for now almost 10 years, and I think that people in the UK are far more reserved. Whereas in the US, I mean, I've been in the US multiple times, many, many, many times. People are more excited, they're like the energy is high, and where people in the UK have high energy too, they're more reserved. They go like shopping and the little things, and what I don't know how it works in the US, but in beginning of November already, you got Christmas songs in the UK on the radio, and I'm like, wait a minute,
Oh,
it's already
yeah.
November.
Sometimes they're putting Christmas out like in July, it seems like. Way too
Yeah.
early.
Do you guys have that same experience, or
Yes,
is
we
it?
do. So, and the shops are full of Christmas stuff,
Yeah,
especially right after Halloween. It's like the day
yeah.
after Christmas is definitely everywhere in every store.
So do you got I'm originally from Belgium, right? In Belgium we have Saint Nicholas. Do you have that in the US? Same.
Yes. So we have Santa Claus, or people call him Saint Nicholas. And what's funny is what I see is traditions from all over the world in America a lot of times.
Oh, okay.
But so you have some people that celebrate more with the Santa Claus and reindeer and that. And then we have the others say for the nativity scene with for Jesus, so the Bethlehem
Yeah.
scene. So there's kind of a mix. Anyway, in our family, it's kind of a mix.
Oh, okay.
So what do you do
Because
for in Belgium?
but initially it's all about, the birth of Jesus and all these things and Joseph and Mary and in Belgium there's a big tradition as well. People they buy food and they prepare stuff. However, Christmas Eve is a very, very specific family thing in Belgium. People sit with the family together to have food, good food. Whereas New Year's Eve is a complete different story in Belgium. New Year's Eve is like party, going out, but Christmas itself as well, they invite family to come together as well. So like for example, you had Christmas Eve with your partner, your kids, and then the next day family is coming over, and most of the time it's about the leftovers, right? Because you
The
make too much food,
leftovers?
there's too much dessert, there's too much
That's funny.
and then they serve the leftovers. UK is almost the same. Yeah, it's so yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
So
says,
what's your favorite?
what do you mean by favorite?
Your favorite part of the holidays?
The 3rd of January. I'm an entrepreneur. Life continues. I used no, seriously, seriously. I used to have Christmas with my kids, and partner as well. And but those days are like far behind. My kids are now like grown up, 37, 35, 33, and then I got a son who is 16 now. But they have that in their own family now going on. And as you know, Tammy, I'm traveling constantly. I don't really stop for Christmas or Christmas Eve or whatever. For me, it's like a day like any other day. I had my birthday
Oh,
not
really?
long ago. Yeah, and they said, "Oh, happy birthday! This is a special day." I said, "Yeah, whatever. It's for me. It's it's a day like any other day, you know."
Let's
Um,
see. And that's one thing.
Mhm.
I love spending time with family on the holidays. What's fun here in the US, actually, the holidays really start this week on
Yeah.
Thursday with Thanksgiving,
Wow.
and to me, it's a whole month of celebration. About being grateful and thankful and showing others how grateful and thankful we are for them, spending those times. But I always thought it's kind of funny how people will do all this extra stuff this time of year, but not the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
why aren't we being grateful and thankful year round and taking the time out once a month even to spend with our family or our kids or whoever, to have a special meal or something.
But isn't it the same as Saint Valentine? All of a sudden, you have to love your partner tremendously, and then the rest of the year you don't care, right? But Valentine, you
Right.
have to pay attention. It's just like
Exactly.
Christmas.
I
Yeah.
totally agree because it's like, yeah, what are you doing for each other? You should at least go on a date night at least once a month, but if it's better, of course, weekly, it's
Yeah.
like you said, it's those little things that I think people don't realize, how important they are.
Yeah. But I have a little thing. So I asked you, do you have Saint Nicholas? Because Saint Nicholas is in Europe is a different thing. That's the 6th of December. There's a tall guy with a white beard and and he's a saint and he has a black guy against with him that is taking care of all the packages and the gifts for the children. And but this is completely different. This has nothing to do with Santa Claus.
Right.
And I wonder if you guys have that too or not.
There's, I know of people that have celebrated that, but no, really
Yeah.
not. So anyway,
Yeah.
not in my circle of the woods. How about any of you guests out there? Put down your traditions and different things that you do, and because we'd love to share them here.
Some Somebody is asking for the link and the link to the event on Facebook. For, oh, wait. Go to Tammy
Unlocking freedom in nature and art. It should be right there. So,
Crawford.
so
Do
if
you have the link?
the what?
The link to the Facebook. Do you have it? Could you share it in the messages, the chat?
I can share it in our chat, possibly. Actually, I can't at the moment. So what people don't realize is I have two screens and a phone, and for some reason I cannot see anybody's comments. So Renee's here to help with those comments. So,
Um, I'm gonna write go to Tammy Crawford Facebook page, uh,
but
and they'll find it, I guess.
so, yeah. So if what family traditions do you guys enjoy? So do you have something that's different than what Renee or I have mentioned? We want to hear those different traditions that everybody talks about. And so,
Yeah, that would be great. Because lately I was in Ghana in Africa. That was like 3 4 weeks ago. I mean 4 weeks ago, I guess. And then after that, I went to Amsterdam in Holland. Complete different culture. And then I went to Iran the week after. Complete different culture again. And the last days I spent in Dubai, complete different again. But when I think about last year, I was in Thailand. Complete different culture again. It's amazing how these cultures are like completely different. Different. Even Iran has a different way of counting the years. When we say it's 2025, they have a complete different counting. Thailand is the same, different
well, and I
counting.
know in Africa is the same way too, because I have friends, they don't celebrate Christmas until like January 6th.
Look at that.
you,
Yeah,
because like you said, it's different calendars, so and it's different times, and we don't think about that, but it's very interesting, and I always find it interesting to see what how other families celebrate, or if they do have celebrations. Some
yeah,
countries don't, and how, like you said, how different we all are. But one
true.
thing that we know can happen during the holidays is stress, right?
Is what did you say? Stress?
Stress. Some people
Stress.
stress out over what they're gonna do. They start stressing out because of thinking about spending time with family. They get anxiety and stuff. And it's like, so have you ever experienced that, Renee, at all? Or know anybody that has?
I got tons of stress through my business. But they're all families, exactly what you say is correct. There's lots of families out there when they do the shopping and when they do, the kids are with them and they don't know what to buy, and then the kids getting angry. And then, I think I can imagine if you have an afternoon with the family, go shopping for Christmas gifts, it could be very stressful, I guess.
I
But
think the stress that I have ever noticed is the lines that I see in the stores.
oh yeah,
That,
oh yeah,
and some people stress over the littlest thing, and it's like there's no reason to, and maybe before you go on a walk outside in nature.
yeah,
Go do something to really de-stress yourself. And then after you come back from shopping, go and do something fun too. Or if you go shopping, make it fun, you know.
yeah.
So it's
And I think
not
also that these marketing companies are blowing things up. When I last time I had Christmas, it was you well, in the UK, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and there was a traffic jam, a tremendous traffic jam towards shopping malls. I mean, traffic jam, you don't want to get in. That is like hours and hours of like, wait a minute, how crazy people can be just to go to that shopping mall and make sure that they have the last gifts to buy and after all, it's just about the birth of Christ.
right.
It's not about shopping. It's about but it is. I mean, it's fun to give gifts and so I know there was a time in my life we had no money, and I was a single dad with 3 daughters, and there was just enough money to put food in the cupboard. That was it. And when it was Christmas time, I would say you're allowed to buy a Christmas gift, and it can be costing maximum €10, which is about $10. I think it's almost the same. And you can only buy one for one particular person. So we're gonna have names in a bucket, and we're gonna draw the name, and then for that person, you're gonna buy a gift for maximum €10, and it has to be very useful you know and I was like, that was always amazing what they came up with. It was like, wow. So they didn't have to spend a lot of money, because €10, I mean, what today, even today, what can you get for €10? Nothing. Three times nothing. But
Right.
still, they were so resourceful and found things, and you could use those things, and I was like, wow. Whereas today, people have the money and they do shopping, 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 and sometimes I have questions about this. People buy things you don't need. But yeah, who am I? I mean, I'm the last person to judge and to comment, and but yeah, and
Well,
it's fun when.
what I like doing is, but we tried to set budgets, and we've been in the same situation, but I'm always looking at what would that person like, or what would they use, not what I would like, but what would they like, because if you get something that you like, a lot of times they might not like it at all, because we have different personalities,
Yeah,
so you always want to think about that person. What would they really, really like, um but I remember when we had those very broke moments, where you're like last minute, luckily a bonus or something came in, and you're like, oh, you rushed and you get gifts, just so you can fill this. My goal was to always at least fill the stockings and get one gift for them,
mm.
right? And one of our traditions for stockings has always been oranges. I grew up
Okay.
getting oranges in my stockings, when I was a kid. And that is one of the things we've always given and put in all of the kids' stockings. And I still do stockings for my grandkids, even, is an orange.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's just a simple tradition to remind us that, at that time, in the olden days, getting an orange during the winter was precious, because
Mm.
you didn't have all the trade coming in from all those stores. And when you grew up on a farm, just getting that one orange meant so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's only the 25th of November. There's still time to do some Christmas shopping. If people, for example, from today forward would ask questions to their kids and partner, just simple questions, and find out what they really uh, want, and in a very indirect way. Otherwise, they were going to find out it's for Christmas, right? But I mean, but if you right now start asking questions to your kids, to your partner, hey, how was your day, and what have you been missing, and and all of that information. If you, in my teaching, I always say ask open questions. What, why, where, when, who, which, and how. People have to come up with a story, but then it's up to you to shut your mouth and listen to the story and find out what is it that they are missing, and then you might find that specific thing in a shop and give it as a Christmas gift. Just an idea. I mean, but in
I love that. And one of the things I do usually, I try to do, is before Christmas, take them shop like grandkids or kids. You take them shopping to the stores and you just look. You're like, hey, I just want to see what you like, give me some ideas, and we do
mm,
that. One of the things, if I can share it, I was at a concert on Sunday night and I ran into this family. And as a gift for their daughter, she just turned 12, was concert tickets. A lot of
oh
times, I
wow,
think
yeah,
people, a lot of times, don't think of those things, but going on adventures, going on trips or concerts or to movies where you can create memories are great gifts, or buying for yourself even courses or things that will help you. It's
yeah,
like your course, Renee, for the sign language and different things.
mm,
I don't think people realize how important. I'm going to see if this will play. This is Parker, and she was such a sweetie.
okay,
And now my volume's not. Anyway,
okay,
my volume's
yeah,
not, but that's just showing her she was so excited to be at the concert, and she was bragging to me, she's like, well, yeah, look what my mom and dad, they got me this shirt, and then I got to go to this concert. And she's like, this is the best gift in the world. And
yeah,
she really, really appreciated it,
yeah,
so and I think people forget that some being able to spend time, especially with that other person or creating memories like that, is sometimes our most valuable gifts. I love the way they did the t-shirt and then the concert ticket. They did something small with it to show that what it was, because
yeah,
sometimes, yes, at Christmas we've all have, especially if we have kids, we know they like to open something. They don't like to just be
mhm,
told. They want to have a box that they can open and see it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what is special as well is that um, so before COVID, we organized a seminar, a 2 day seminar in Gambia, in Africa. And there was a young lady at the university who was organizing everything. And what happened is that she organized, she spent money as well to organize the whole thing. But then COVID hit, and I couldn't go. I mean, there was no flights, there was nothing. And she calls me, hey man, I'm in deep trouble with my finances because of this and blah blah blah. And it was also, I think it was also, if I remember it very well, around Christmas time. And I said, what are you talking about? She says, yeah, I need money. I need money. I said, listen, if the whole of Africa is calling me, they need money. I can't answer that. It's out of the question. She says, yeah, but I'm suffering because I organized for you, blah, 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 blah. So I said, okay, listen, make a video of your situation, of your family, your mom. You say your mom is ill, your village. Make me a video and send it to me. And she did that. I was heartbroken, and I said, wow, damn. I said, well, like, I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna wire her 50 euro. 50 euro. That is, I mean, in the society we live in, is not that much money. And I said to her, listen, do you have access to Western Union? She says, yeah, absolutely. I said, I'll send you some money. She says, okay, I'll send her 50 euro. She's calling me crying. I said, why are you crying? She says, did you know what you did for us? I said, I have no idea. You bought food for a whole month for my whole family. with 50 euro. I was like, wow. It's and when you can do things like that during a like not only during the period of Christmas, but when everybody is in the Christmas mood and everybody, and then you have these people who are really in need. Um, I was in Brussels. I was living in Brussels for 3 months, also during COVID, and I had to go to a region in Brussels to go do some shopping to a supermarket. But that specific region is not really the region or that thing you go to after 9 p.m. You don't go there. Simple.
Oh
It's as
yeah,
simple as that because you don't get out. And
that's not good.
so I went to that supermarket and there was a young guy sitting down on the ground, and I never have money in my pocket. Never, never. I only work with cards. And I was like so devastated that I couldn't give him anything because I only work with a card, you know. And I grabbed in my pocket anyway, and I found a couple of euros, and I put it in the cup he had in his hand. That smile on his face, wow, priceless, priceless. But when you can do that during those days as well, that is helping somebody who is really in need is so important, so important.
Well, it is, and it's like I know our church does Christmas boxes, and we try to do things. Or there's the Christmas trees you can take a name off here, and you can purchase a gift for a family or kids and stuff. And one of the things that we've always done is take the kids, even your own kids or your family, and go purchase something for somebody else. Have them help
Mm,
shop, or help at a soup kitchen. There's like so many things. One of the things I did with my grandkids a few years, we've done it almost every year, was we just go to the dollar store up here and
yeah.
I let them buy socks. There's like hats and scarves and scarves. Because what we found out and we've been giving to the schools for like this for a long time, is how many kids will show up to school and not have sweaters or scarves or coats or hats. So it's like you go and you pick out like 30 or 50 or whatever you can afford, and then you take them over to the school and you let the kids do that. It's something
Mm-mm.
simple, but it helps them to realize that when you give something like that, how many lives it can help. And it's just a
Yeah.
simple thing that people don't think about. It's outside of the box. And I never even talk about that kind of stuff because if I see somebody and God lays it on my heart that, hey, they need help, you know, you help them out. And like you said, sometimes you don't have cash, or you only have $1 or some change, or I've gone in and I've just bought food and brought it back to
Mm,
them, because the
yeah.
problem is in our society, there are a lot of people in certain sections that classify themselves as that will street panhandle, and actually they are not poor at all. It's kind of
Mm,
like some of the soup kitchens. They like at our church, I know they verify and make sure, and they send like if they need money for rent or whatever, they send it straight to their hotels. So you do have to use caution and use common sense. Don't just invite a stranger to your house because I've known stories of friends who've done that and then they ended up being mugged. So
yeah. Wow.
use
Yeah.
caution because there's so many creative ways that you can help others. And when you help others, to me, that's one of the, I always look at, like you said, even when you're giving a gift, you're helping somebody. It's like you're brightening their day because you're doing something for them, not just for you.
True. And as the saying goes, what goes around comes around. Um, that's always the fact. When you help somebody out, it will come back to you in a complete different way sometimes. And but I can see that there's Eva. Eva Matias is there on the
Welcome,
call.
Eva.
And she says, yes, experiences and memories are the best presents. Holidays, theater tickets, memories that will last a lifetime rather than objects. And then Daryl Crawford is there. Okay. Sharing time together can be the greatest gift. Welcome, Daryl. And then Eva says something about in a comment on sharing time together be the greatest gift. Definitely the most precious. Wow. Yeah. So is there,
It
if there's
is.
anybody listening or watching or whatever, please, if you have questions or you want to make a statement, please please feel free. And Daryl says it's amazing how, as people living in Western societies, we are so used to having so many blessings. when a small gift to others can change their whole life. That is so true. That is so true, Daryl.
Well,
I
like you
really
said, I mentioned,
agree.
so one of the things, because you're talking about Africa, right? So I had donated, so I work with sometimes different missionaries and different people from all over. Met them through like youth groups. Who knows how I met them, right? And this one family, he's a pastor in another country, and he had sons. And I, one of the things he'd asked for, I sent him a Christmas gift, right? And just to send him this package with like had three color books, some color crayon, just and some candy, some things for the kids and drawing pads or whatever. It wasn't much. The whole gift didn't cost that much, but the shipping was over $100 just to ship it. What
Wow.
was
Yeah.
interesting, he didn't get it. And we're like, because I had paid insurance on it and stuff. And then I realized afterwards, talking to another person, it's like never pay insurance on a package because it's not insured, anyway.
Yeah.
But almost a year later, he got the gift.
Oh my God. Wow.
It, and he
That's
sent me
crazy.
photos of his kid and was just in tears.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. And I think I had sent him something else in between time, but it was amazing how much those little things can mean to somebody. And I've had that. It's kind of like when the kids would give me pine cones or paint a rock.
Mm.
My grandkids would collect rocks and give me the rocks that they felt were so precious to them, and I still have them. You know,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
sometimes it's that we need to appreciate the gifts we get as well as what we give, because sometimes somebody else and they may not have thought, to them that was their time, it was their energy that they spent, or their money to give you a gift. And
Yeah.
and a lot of times people don't appreciate that.
True. 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 But I have a question for Eva though, because Eva is originally from Hungary, and I have a question for Eva if Christmas is different in Hungary compared with the UK because she's living in the UK, Eva. I don't know if Eva knows about the US or something, but how do you have Christmas in Hungary? That would be an amazing thing to discover because Hungary is more towards the east in Europe. So you got Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria. It's a different culture as well. I've been to Hungary once. Amazing country, but different culture. Um, yeah, and I'm very curious if I don't know if
Well, and
Eva's
like you said, just
still
knowing
there, but
different people, like you said, bring us, like we had friends that were Russian and they would celebrate a little bit different. Every person, even families here in the US, everybody celebrates a little bit different. Some people love spending time together on like Thanksgiving, have a big turkey dinner. Other people don't. I grew up in a
mm,
family that on Thanksgiving, you would invite different people to your house for Thanksgiving dinner. People, strangers, you know.
yeah. Now I have a question for you, Tammy. Um, what is the meaning of Thanksgiving, and where does it come from?
So it came from a long time ago, and there's so many different stories
Hmm.
um, of when the first settlers came and the Native Americans, they met and had peace and basically celebrated together a meal, right? They
Hmm.
stopped everything. To me, I'm with the Canadians on this one. I think Thanksgiving was probably more closer to the middle of October because of harvest. It was supposed to be the end of harvest. So, but the United States has moved it, so there's different stories. We've always celebrated is it's a time to get together with family, just to celebrate each other, spend time together. I mean, to me, that is so important. And, I'm blessed. I'm spending time with my daughter and husband and the grandkids on Thursday. So that's amazing. And
Mm.
usually we have a turkey dinner. So
Yeah.
and most families have turkey dinners on Thanksgiving here.
I'm so sad for the turkey community.
I'm laughing. You know how many turkeys are outside running around our place right now? There's like 20 of them out the window
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Wow. Yeah,
But turkey's pretty tasty, if it's good,
yeah,
if
no,
it's done right. So, and my
exactly.
daughter, both of my daughters are amazing cooks as well. So I'm excited for that. But to me, it's just spending the time with the family. Playing, some families I know, it's like my husband's family would watch more football type games or sports, and then on my side, it was more playing games or doing something totally
Yeah,
different.
yeah, like Monopoly and all these
Right.
types of
Well,
things. Yeah.
one of our, I would like to hear, do you guys have any kind of traditions or things that you guys do during the holidays that's different? Or like, do you guys play games, do sports, football, soccer? What do you do on Thanksgiving or Christmas? Or is there something we're missing here? In one of the traditions in our area is people the day after Christmas go and watch a Christmas parade and stuff at the resort where there's fireworks and everything and full parade and everything in the evening. Um, and that kind of really kicks off the Christmas holidays.
What we do have in Europe as well is the Christmas Eve that there's a mess in the church um, at midnight, and they call that the midnight Christmas Eve mass. And that's special too, It's a very special atmosphere in that church. Um, and Eva is just responding, sorry, my laptop turned off all of the sudden. In Hungary and mainland Europe, I think 24th, Christmas Eve is the main day. That's when we open presents and have dinner. 25th, 26th is time together with family. Sound time together. Oh, sound time together. Bigger family too, who we often only see once a year at Christmas. Yeah, that is so true. Thank you, Eva, for that. That is so like bigger families, they don't see each other for the full year, and then all of a sudden everybody is together, and that is, I think, that's also very cozy and very nice to have that, isn't it?
It is. One of the ways that we try to get on Christmas Eve, we started this tradition. I don't know, it's probably been 10 years ago. It was a new tradition that we started because we felt like, it's like our kids when it come, with till about noon and we'd have appetizer and then you have your dinner, right? And then they would leave. And we're like, I wanted something that was interactive that we all had a blast. We play bingo. We started a Christmas
Oh, wow.
bingo,
Okay.
and it's because it's a game that you can play, you can talk, you can visit, you laugh, and everybody, it's so, and I have it set up so we have all these prizes with numbers on them, and we have an advent calendar that you open. You have, when you win your bingo, you go open up the calendar door, and it has the number, and then you
Hmm.
go over and you pick out the gift. And I don't care if they
Oh,
exchange
wow.
them afterwards. So, and
Yeah.
some of the gifts, what was funny, some of the gifts that before, we buy funny gifts, right? Or where you just would get chocolate. And now some of the gifts can be, like gift cards to a restaurant, or they could be even a nice coffee mug. You
Yeah.
just, last year it was our thing was on for hiking. So we gave away like even first aid kits, matches, lighters. We gave away anything that you could use on a hiking trip or backpacking trip, even
Yeah.
Oreos. We know what the kids' some of their favorites are. So you would put those in packages, but when you do it that way, so it's numbered, then they can't just go and say, "Oh, I'm going to pick out this package." They have to grab the one.
Mm.
So anyway, we end up playing that game even as adults now because, well, and all the kids are older, for 3 to 4 hours every Christmas.
What? Three
Yeah,
to 4 hours?
3 to 4 hours. It is so, so much fun. It's something that everybody looks forward to every year.
Yeah.
It means
Okay.
more, than even just opening the gifts, and stuff. And we have, of course, our dinner and stuff. But just spending that time because you're engaging.
Mm.
Nobody's on a cell phone. And so you're getting that engagement.
Yeah. that Eva just mentioned as well, board games and up till New Year is just time together more than the rest of the year. It's just nice. Normally no work and just family time. Yeah, and the board games as well. Yeah, yes, so true.
And I'm like
So,
you, Renee. I
mhm,
we go to a candlelight service every Christmas Eve because,
okay.
like at church, there's just something surreal about it. You know, how singing songs, worship songs, and stuff. It's
So
precious.
what, but where you are, Tammy, I mean, you're more up north, right?
Yes,
More up north.
but I know they do that in a lot of churches throughout the whole United States. Is a candlelight service.
Okay. Because my question would be, is like the region where you live, is it different? Like when you live up north, or you're in LA or in New York, or in I don't know, in the South and in Florida.
Probably food wise is probably a little bit different. You know, we usually have snow. I at
Yeah,
Christmas time, we're it's kind of like when we went to Florida last year at this time. It's like they're all decorated with for Christmas down there with lights, but it felt so different because it was, 80-degree days,
yeah,
sunshine, palm trees. Up here we have, the fir, pine, snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas really exists up here usually. So
yeah. I had somebody from Australia that came to Birmingham in the UK when I was doing preview sessions for our dear friend Tony Robbins, and she never saw snow. She never had seen snow in her whole life from Australia, and she saw snow and she literally jumped in the snow and started swimming in the snow like I never saw snow. I said, "Wow, that's amazing, isn't it?" But indeed, yeah, if you go south, I mean, it must be different. But when you say 80 degrees, I'm looking now on the internet. That's Fahrenheit, isn't it? Um,
yes.
so Fahrenheit to Celsius, which is 80 degrees. 80 degrees. Come on, get on with it. 80. It's 26 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that's a nice temperature. 26,
Yeah,
yeah,
very,
Celsius.
very
Yeah.
nice temperature. I could use some
Yeah.
of that sunshine right now and warmth. So
I just got back from Dubai, and it was about no, not 100. Let's say 90. Would that be correct? Yeah, approximately 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius. And you walk around in your shorts and your t-shirt and stuff, and runners, and then you have to jump on that plane, and then you arrive in Europe, and you go like, my goodness, you're freezing to death. So
it
yeah,
is funny when like you said, you go from some place cold to hot or hot to cold, the
yeah,
difference.
it's oh my goodness, I was so. But yeah, it's what else can we talk about?
Oh, well, I want to know what your idea is. So at times there's those family interactions that people are afraid to go to a family event. What would you advise them? It's like I always tell people just don't talk about political or politics or religion when you're together, or and try not to talk about things that are going to upset somebody.
Correct, correct. If I go
Especially for a
to,
family gathering, to me, those kind of things should be talked about before or after separately, but not at a family gathering.
yeah, I've been to several Middle Eastern countries, not to name any names, but the first thing you do, you stay away from politics and religion, and you have the most beautiful time of your life. But when we would reverse that to a family gathering, I would say exactly what you just said. Don't talk about politics or religion, something you can't change anyway. Um, talk about the family, talk about the past, talk about maybe of the future, and like you mentioned before as well, no cell phones. Put the cell phones all together in one freaking box, all on airplane mode, because nobody's missing you. Do you know that? It's all about the phone is about attention and significance. And if there's an emergency, you can't do anything anyway. Um,
That's
that's
so true.
if you're on the other side of the country. If I'm in Thailand, for example, and something happens in Belgium, what can I do? Jump on the plane
The only
and
thing
then
you can do
like.
is pray a lot of times, and that's it,
So
right?
yeah, so why would you have that phone on? Just put it somewhere, and then maybe if you say, "Hey, let's have a 5 minute, a 5 minute phone time," check your emails, check your phone, but 5 minutes later, it's going back into the box. Done. stuff like that. I would that organize it that way, absolutely.
And that's an
But
awesome idea. Having that box set, it's like, okay, here's put your phones in, if especially if it's a family that, everybody's so used to being on their phone constantly, But otherwise, yeah,
there's a
definitely
company
great idea.
there's a company in Europe that produces the boxes, phone boxes. So
Oh,
you put
really?
them in, they're locked up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're very, I mean, yeah, entrepreneurship minded. They invented that. But yeah, I think, and maybe if you have family you didn't visit for a long time and you're like scared to go, just go. Just go. And it's what I do. Sometimes I say, "Hey, I'm in the neighborhood. Are you home?" Oh, yeah. Uh, so, and then you pop in, and then the first 5 minutes might be a little bit weird, but after 5 minutes, when the ice is broken, the rest is history. That's how I look at things.
Oh,
Um,
I love that. Yeah. I always like don't don't have expectations of other people, you
yeah,
know. Only, work on yourself. But because sometimes if we expect too much, or the other thing, if you go to somebody's house, just enjoy their company, you know. Don't expect them to wait on you hand and foot, you know.
yeah, true, 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 true.
Pitch in when you offer, even if they don't accept your offer. When you do those little things, think of how you would want to be treated.
Yeah, true, true. Most of the time when I visit people, I got my book with me, and I said I got a little gift for you, and they go like, "Oh, body language."
I
And I
love
go like,
it.
"It's interesting," and even if they are not readers, the topic only already, they're like, I mean, wow, how would it make you feel if you can read somebody's mind, even your partner's mind? They'd be like, "Oh wow, that's interesting stuff." I said, "I know."
Well, it is a great book, and it's a great book as a gift too. So, so
No, but
yeah, and we have so many authors in our group. And so many people that offer so many things. And I put a link up yesterday for Monday marketing. In case you missed it, is put your links in there where people could purchase like your books and different things. We want to support you, and it's our way of supporting you is by putting those links in there because you never know. So
yeah,
it's like
true.
your book has so much to offer, Renee. There's all those little things, and maybe it's just a side gift, or maybe it's a bingo prize. Um, you know,
I mean, we can do all kinds of, and the thing I would say as well is that even if you say, well, a book is if you have content in your mind and you have it on your mind already for a long time, why don't you write a book? Because it took me years to write that book, and once I had took the this when once I've taken the decision, in less than 3 4 months it was written and it was up and running. It was published, but it was always, yeah, tomorrow. I'll see. Tomorrow. No, I'm not in the mood. Yeah, I have to travel now.
hey,
I don't have
I've been
time.
bad about because I want to do my book on audio. And
Okay.
it seems like every time I go to start to put it on audio, something happens, you know?
Yeah.
So, because that is my goal is to get it on audio because I don't know how many people are like, please, please put it on audio. So eventually I will get it.
Yeah. I
But
mean, and
it,
for people watching, like I say, watching and listening, please put your stuff out there. It's so important. You never know whose life you can change in with a couple of words, with a couple of sentences. It's amazing.
right. So, and here's another idea for a gift. So, if you have other ideas, but I saw this the other day where they bought a like one of those shadow boxes or picture frame. It was glass on the one side, and they taped their gift card into it, but then they surrounded and filled the whole box with like different the person's favorite candies and different little things,
Okay.
which was kind of
Okay.
a cute idea for if you're not sure where to get somebody and you get them a gift card. You go to this extra step, or you could even just do a regular box and put other little things around it. So it's just an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. And Daryl says great advice about putting the phones away, and his eyes are coming up like you probably
So
know what you're talking about. So yeah. But if there's anybody out there watching, listening, I mean, and you have a question, or if you want to like make a statement about Christmas in your country, in your region where you live, please feel free to do so. Myself, I'm Belgium, living in London. Tammy is in Minnesota? No,
No,
in
I'm in North Idaho,
Idaho, not Idaho. Sorry, sorry for
USA.
that.
So I'm close to the Canadian border. So I'm
Okay,
like an hour from Washington, hour from Montana. We're up in
and
the very
Oregon.
northern, up in the lake area. So
Oh, so Oregon is not that far either.
Oregon's probably 4 hours, three
Yeah, it's
hours to
not
get
that
there.
far, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Oregon.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's
a small world, if you think about it.
yeah. And I had a friend in he's from Denmark, living in Thailand. He married a Thai lady. And one year he's sending me pictures like, "Hey, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas." And he was in his bathing suits at the beach with like the red thing on his head with the white. So, okay. So
So,
I would say if you have pictures from maybe if you allow me saying that, Tammy, if people have pictures about their Christmas
oh yeah,
to
definitely.
post it, right? To post it on the link here on the page,
Oh
the
yeah,
power of nature
I want to
and like you
see those
said.
Christmas photos or when they decorate and stuff because that was my next question for you was do you in your area they're in Belgium, do you guys decorate um tables, like I redecorate the entire house pretty much for Christmas. We have all Christmas decoration where we put lights up outside, we bring in a Christmas tree. I put different table decorations on, I put up my nativity scene. I have all of this Christmas decorations. Some
Yeah,
people don't do that, but I was wondering if you do anything like
I
that.
think 70% of society from, I mean, British society, I'm not talking about people who moved into England. I'm talking about real British people, real Belgian people. You might say 70% still decorates tremendously beautifully. I mean, when I was still married, I mean, I divorced in what is it, 7 years ago when I was still married, we had also beautiful decorations. The whole house was in Christmas things, and it was beautiful. A Christmas tree with a lot of lights, and a table specially dressed. And yeah, it was I think 70%. And then you have the older generation, like my mom, she's 87. She's no longer doing that. She says, I can't be bothered with the Christmas tree. I can't be bothered with this. And she's living in her own house, by the way.
That's
But she says,
awesome.
well, no. And if we come and visit, no, 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 don't come visit. I mean, I want to be on my own and quietly. I think there's a lot of people like that as well that really want to be in peace and quiet, and they don't decorate. They have a nice evening. They watch some television by 10 o'clock, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. They're in bed already, right? Uh, I think that's the other 30% that says, nah, thank you so much, not interested. But I think 70% still, yeah, in Britain and in
One of
Belgium.
the gifts that we gave away a long, long time ago was a Christmas tree to a young
A
family
Christmas
because
tree.
amazing because Christmas trees can be hard for some families to afford, or, if they can't go cut their own down and stuff. Sometimes just something like that, or taking a flower, a poinsettia, or something, a pretty bouquet, a flower arrangement like for your mom, just reminds them it can cheer up a house. I know, like my mom, when she was here around, just having her tiny little Christmas tree set up. And my husband's mom was the same way. Just having that made them feel better. And each one of them loved having
Yeah,
family around, though, at the holidays, or
yeah,
at least feel like they were included, or even if they didn't do anything, at least being asked, and because it doesn't hurt to ask somebody
yeah,
just to make sure they're included. Or we tried to work it because with families, it can get complicated. And so, one family you might only see it's like our friends that we met up with dinner last night. They just celebrated their Thanksgiving with their kids, yes, on Sunday. And then they're doing Thanksgiving with their other family on Thursday. They just set aside different dates to celebrate together. So.
yeah, yeah. So it's like where you are, do you have like Christmas markets where you have these little wooden cabins, like little ones, and they sell you
No, we
glühwein and
don't. We don't have that, which is kind of is
okay.
different. Oh, it would be fun to come visit just to see that. Yeah, all the shops just have like their little Christmas things, and there's like craft shows or shows at fairgrounds and stuff that they'll sell those different homemade products, you know? So,
Yeah,
well, our
yeah.
time is
Because
going by
in England,
fast here.
what, 50 minutes already? Wow.
Yes.
How much time did you calculate for this? I have no idea.
So I always figure about an 45 minutes to an hour. So
Yeah. Maybe just this one is that in Belgium, in England as well, but in Belgium, every single city has an ice skating thing where you can go ice skating, and they have these little cabins where they sell you all kinds of like cookies and glue wine and all of it's a beautiful thing to experience.
uh, that's
Yeah.
that's fun. Well,
Anyway,
this time of year,
huh?
like you said, I need to get my Christmas lights out because I always feel because it's so dark. It gets dark at like 4 o'clock here right now.
Oh wow.
You
Wow.
know, so
Okay.
Christmas lights up is nice in the wintertime because it gives you that extra light, right? So you can see your front
Mm,
porch.
yeah.
But I don't know, during the wintertime, it's like you said, the hot cocos, ice skating, doing fun things like that, also with family. Sledding, we used to do sledding a lot with our kids. We have ski slopes around here, so that's another things, it's like you can think of gifts to give for adventures and hikes, whether or adventures.
Hmm.
Um, as because there's so many, because it could be stuff that's right now that they could go skiing or snowboarding or something like that. Or it could be something for in the summer, it could be a vacation for the family. It could be a vacation for
Hmm.
you, it's like I would love for people to join me in Barbados. Um, or I had mentioned doing a float trip, a rafting trip with the kids, doing something like that. Doing
Yeah.
just those fun, interactive things. And if you can think outside of the box and get creative, I mean, what's better than spending time with the people that you love? Because if you look back
Yeah.
later on life, what do you remember? Do you remember every shirt or blouse you got, or shoes, unless it was special, you might remember some of that. And I do remember quite a bit, but it's usually spending time together
Yeah.
is the most
I
important.
remember.
And like you said, it's not just about spending time at the holidays, but try to make it a yearly thing.
Yeah. I mean, I remember Les Brown is Les Brown, motivational speaker.
Yeah, I've met
Les
less.
Brown. One thing I remember from Les Brown, he says, "Can you imagine you're 80 years old, 80 years old. You're sitting in your rocket chair and you look like this back on your life. Would you have a smile on your face or tons of regrets?" And I think, you know, not only with Christmas, as you mentioned, you should have Christmas every single day of the year, isn't it? Or
Live with no
Valentine's.
regrets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of
Wow.
times, it's like, um, it's not worth arguing over stuff because everybody has different experiences in their life. And stop playing the victim and just realize live, enjoy life. There's times where, and it's like I talk to so many different people all the time, and this has been a challenging year for a lot of different people, right? We do get
True.
those challenges, but it's how we go through them. And don't just assume somebody's happy and go lucky. It's like I have this one friend, and everybody, even her family, would always assume just because they have these beautiful homes and stuff that they have it, would never even offer to buy her like a Diet Coke or a cup of coffee. They always expected her
Mm.
to pay, which is so wrong. It's like, if you like somebody, show them. And it can just be the
Yeah.
simplest little thing. Buy somebody a cup of coffee or buy a stranger a cup of coffee. Do things for others. To me, that's what the holidays are about, is doing something for somebody besides yourself. But at the same time, one of the greatest gifts that I think you can give yourself is something that can help you. And that might be an adventure or going to a retreat, or maybe it's reading a book. There's those are my ideas. What about you, Renee?
In Belgium, there was a trainer, coach trainer, and that was based on Tony Robbins' principle, and but he did it in Belgium, and I had a lot of respect for that guy, and he had what he called the basket brigade, and right before Christmas, they would fill up bags, like little bags that you can order in with all kinds of companies. They cost you three times nothing. If you order like 100 of them, you pay
Right.
probably not even a dollar for per bag, and they would fill them up with food, with like a cocoa drink, a waffle, all kinds of things, and then a warm jacket and something to put on their head, and then they wouldn't give it right away. They would sit down with somebody who was begging, and they say, "Hey man, where do you come from? What is your story? Tell me. I want to hear about it." And then at the end, I got a little gift for you. This is for you for these days. I mean, we're thinking about you. And the if you can do that to one person this Christmas, you don't want to know how you can change somebody's life doing this. I did it in England as well, with the Basket Brigade. From That was a direct organization from the Yes Group, which is connected with Tony Robbins. They do it again. There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, how you call them, who do things for free. How you call them? I can't come up with the word now.
Volunteers.
Volunteers, hundreds of volunteers putting all these efforts together with their cars. They go to families who are in need. And if you can be a part of that, I think that is an amazing thing to do. Maybe it's related to this period of the year, but I wouldn't just stick to this period of the year. If you can do it the whole year too, when you see somebody, you can help them out or anything. I mean, I would do that. Absolutely.
Well, it reminds me of my one favorite quote. It's like, do one thing each day, 365 days of the year, that will help or bless somebody. And it could be as simple as a kind word, you know,
Mm,
saying
true.
thank you, or it could be cheering somebody up, or even just commenting on, it's like, hey, your eyes sparkle, or something kind. Sometimes that's all it takes, is to lift somebody up that day.
Yeah.
You don't know what they might have just went through, or I've been
Yeah.
into times where I was in the grocery store in line and some clerk's getting chewed out by somebody. The person's just mean, and I'm like, hey, I apologize for them. I'm sorry, you're doing a great job, and you just cheer them up. um
Yeah.
those little things. But we also need to make sure we're not doing that just to a stranger, but we're doing that with our family, using being kind as well.
Yeah, and make a joke from time to time, and have a laugh. And I had to fill in a medical form, and one question was, do you have allergies? Allergies. I said, yes, I have one particular one. And I said, what is it? I said, negative people. And they start laughing.
I
So,
love it. Well, time has gone by so dang fast, and it's been awesome. I want people to share. If you have questions, ask them here, and Renee and I will look at them later, and we'll answer them. And we want, like Renee said, post your Christmas traditions here, holidays. Post them.
picture, photos.
Pictures. We love that. So
Yeah.
I love it when people post and share photos, or if there's a really cool quote you have for the holidays, share it. Love hearing that. So thanks again for being here. Thank you, Renee, for being here with me. I really, really appreciate it. And we hope you guys have a wonderful week. And those in the US, happy Thanksgiving. So,
Happy Thanksgiving. You guys have a great time. Thank you for being here.
thank you. Bye. All right.
You're still live, or I think you're still live.